Hi guys, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at, this is CC2. So CPM course 2. This is section 3.2.3, number 3-61. So it asks us to simplify each of the following expressions without using a calculator. Draw a diagram or use words to show your thinking. So what we've got here for A is we're looking at some order of operations. We're looking at 4 times -2 and 1/3 plus 7 and 1/6, right? So we're first of all, we've got some multiplying and then some addition, right? Multiplication and addition. And in this case, if we are going to describe this, this is really 4, in words, as it asks, 4 groups of -2 and 1/3. And then from that, then add 7 and 1/6. And if we're looking at a diagram, really the concept here is if I'm starting at 0 per se, I'm going to go 4 groups this direction, right? I'm going to take 4 leaps in the negative direction of that -2 and 1/3. -2 and 1/3. So I'm going to take these leaps of -2 and 1/3 in the negative direction. And then once I land here, then I'm going to hop back positive because I'm adding that 7 and 1/6. So that's visually what that would look like on a number line. And this is in words what we're dealing with. So now let's do the math to that. So the math here is, first of all, if I'm multiplying 4 times -2 and 1/3, really the answer is going to be negative, but let's just look at the quantity of 4 times 2 and 1/3, right? So when we multiply that 4 and 2 and 1 times 2 and 1/3, well, first of all, it'd probably be easier to take that 2 and 1/3 and put it in as a single fraction instead of a mixed number. So it's 4 times, remember how to do that? It's the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. That becomes the new numerator, right? So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So it's 7/3. So 4 times 7/3. And then remember how to multiply a whole number times a fraction. You put the whole number over 1 and then multiply. And when you're multiplying fractions, you just multiply straight across. So that becomes 28/3, right? 28/3. Now, what I need to do at that point, I have that 28/3. What do I do with the 28/3? Now, keep in mind, it's negative, right? Because we actually took this -2 and 1/3 and multiplied by 4. 4 groups of -2 and 1/3, right? So if I wanted to show that that was a -7 when I multiply, so it's a -28/3. So now I'm going to add that to 7 and 1/6, right? So again, when we're adding fractions, in this case specifically, also going to be adding a negative, which means we're really going to subtract them. But when we do that, adding or subtracting, it'd be good to kind of have a single fraction and then the common denominator, right? So we'll change this one to be 6 times 7 is 42 plus 1, 43/6. Okay, now I've got 2 single fractions. I need to add, but I have a negative and a positive. So really what I'm going to do is subtract them. But in order to do that, I need to have a common denominator. So let's change. My denominator is 6 over here. So that one's good to go. But I need to change that to be something over 6, which would be just to take that and multiply top and bottom by 2, right? Multiply top and bottom by 2. So that 6 is on the bottom, and on the top, 2 times 28 is 56. Okay, so we have a -56/6 plus a positive 43/3. When I have a negative and a positive, I'm really taking and I'm subtracting the numbers, right? So I can, over here, I'll just show, I'm going to take the 43 and the 6, or 56 and 43, and subtract them and get 13. So I have this 13/6. Then I go back and say, well, there was more negative, so it's going to be -13/6. Or if you were going to rewrite it as a mixed number, it would be -2 and 1/6. Reconvert that to a mixed number. So either way, there's A. Okay. So let's look at B real quick here. Go back to the question. B is -8 plus, -2 times 3. -8 plus -2 times 3. And remember, if we're looking at this as a visual, right, I would actually be starting here at 0. I'm going to go -8, which is this direction, -8. And then I'm adding to that -2 times 3. So we can look at it as 3 groups of -2, which would, again, hop even further out. -2, 3 groups of -2. When I have multiplication, this is 3 groups, 3 positive groups of that -2. So that's visually what it might look like. But mathematically, no, that's all right. I put a parenthesis around the negative to show still -2 times -3 means the same thing. So I'm going to do the multiplication first. I get -6 here, and then -8 plus -6. Add those negatives, you end up with -14. Okay, that is B. All right, and then C. Okay, let's look at C. C says 4 plus -5 times -3 plus -7. So I'm having 4 plus -5 times -3 plus -7. So in this case, order of operations, I'm going to multiply first. I get a positive 15. -5 times -3 is a positive 15. Now I can rewrite. I have 4 plus 15 plus -7. In this case, all addition, I can just go straight across, right, from left to right. So that those two add to be 19, and then -7 added to the 19 becomes positive 12 at the end. Okay. And last one, D. D shows -4 and 25/100 times 2 plus -4 and 25/100 times -2. Okay, so I have multiplication and addition. So I'll do the multiplication first. So in this case, 2 times the -4 and 25/100 actually turns it to be -8.5. And then over here, so plus, and then a negative times a negative becomes a positive. In this case, again, 8.5. And now I have a -8.5 and a positive 8.5, and I'm adding them. So my final answer is 0. All right, there you go.